We arrived at Pigeon Forge because we're going to be taking my mom for her 80th birthday to Dollywood, one of the places she's always wanted to see. But we were going to go to Dollywood the next day, so we spent the day looking around Pigeon Forge. And the very first thing we did, because we were hungry, is we looked for a place to eat. And I cannot believe how beautiful and fun this restaurant was. It's right on the main boulevard in Pigeon Forge, and it's the best 50s themed diner I've ever been to. You've got to go. All the details about it are going to be in the description below. But you can see right here, my mom is looking, there was a Ford Fairlane there and also a Plymouth Belvedere, both beautifully restored, and they belong to the owner of this cool 50s diner. And then the next video you're going to see inside. The restaurant's called the Sunliner Diner, and you see here one of the milkshakes. We all ordered milkshakes, and they fill it all the way to the top, plus give you, of course, the canister to have more from what they mixed up. But also they put a full waffle in. Then on top of the waffle, then they spray it with whipped cream and sprinkles or nuts or chocolate chips, depending on the kind of shake you got. And you're going to see in the video how great this place is. It's called the Sunliner Diner. You're not going to want to miss it when you go to Pigeon Forge.
Let me take you to see all of the stainless steel. Look at the counter where they do milkshakes and floats. Juice. Pink Cadillac that you can eat in. Here we go. You can see how big the restaurant is. And you know what, you guys? We ate immediately. We were seated as soon as we walked in, and we were eating very quickly. And we ordered these giant milk. All neighbors on Taylor Street, all together on the go, tweet, 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 rock, rock, tweet.
Wasn't it fun seeing the girls dancing to Rockin' Robin? They do the dances like every 15, 20 minutes, and you're usually there for at least an hour, so you're able to see them dance and have a great time with all kinds of really fun music like the Twist and others. Now, also in Pigeon Forge, they have a historic area that you're going to want to see, and again, it's just down the street from the Sunliner Diner because everything is on the main drag. And right now, my mom and boyfriend are standing in front of the old mill, which used to be a grist mill, and you can see the mill turning in the water. There's a waterfall there that you can look down upon. So go to this historic area because you're going to see so much of the original area of Pigeon Forge.
In the 1830, and now it's been turned into shops and restaurants, and the restaurant looks amazing. It looks like it's 2 levels and oversees the water and the mill wheel that used to grind the grain. Here you can see the sign that it's now a restaurant. This whole area is part of the historic district because this is where Pigeon Forge started, and you can see all the shops and restaurants in this little section of the historic.
Now, for all you history buffs and Civil War buffs, you're going to love this Civil War secret. I'm sure your Civil War buffs already know about it. But in many of the eastern Tennessee regions, they did not support the South. They actually were supporting the North, the Union Army. And in the mill upstairs of the old mill, many people were, mostly women, weaving cloth for Union Army uniforms. The local postmaster was one of the leaders of this area and of the people that were supporting the Union Army. And they were doing this on the second floor, and you'll be able to read all about it. And you'll also be able to go into the mill, which has been turned into a restaurant, like I said in the video, and you'll be able to see a lot more of the history. But I never knew this, and it was very cool to learn. Now, one more note about Pigeon Forge. There are so many different attractions that are in Pigeon Forge that are family-oriented, really all ages. You see here the Rock'em Sock'em Robots, which is at one of the miniature golf courses. I would say there's at least 10 miniature golf courses on the main drag of Pigeon Forge. There's rock climbing walls, trampolines, go-kart racing, water parks, everything along that main drag. Even if you decided not to go to Dollywood when you go to Pigeon Forge, there's so much going on there for all ages, especially for the family. There is the Wax Museum, which has the movie stars and the celebrities in wax. There is this beautiful skyscraper, which has King Kong at the top, and that's part of the Wax Museum as well, because it's mostly movie stars in there. All the diners, like the Sunliner Diner, all different kinds of restaurants. So there's a lot to do in Pigeon Forge. Even if you don't decide to go to Dollywood, it reminds me a lot of Myrtle Beach, which also has a lot of those same things. You're going to have fun. Okay, the next day we went to Dollywood. You guys, it was a blast. I didn't have a real clear feeling of what was going to be there. I thought maybe it mostly would be rides, and I wasn't sure how much my mom was going to love it, but she loved it. And here's one of the beautiful eagles, Rocky Mountain eagles of Dollywood. Okay, my mom turned 80 on January 1st this year, 2023, and this was her gift for us to take her in springtime when we knew the flowers and everything would be blooming at Dollywood. And here we are in front of one of the sculptures. They have a lot of the garden sculptures. This one has the signature butterflies that Dolly loves, and you're going to see those all over the park. We love the Dollywood train ride. That is the one ride my mom would go on because it takes you all around the park and you get to go through some of the Smoky Mountains that surround the park. And it's just a delightful ride and it takes you back in time.
If you hadn't tried any of that cinnamon bread, you definitely need to. I'd get 2 loaves though, because one's definitely not going to make it back to the car. Maybe I'll just keep on waving and being friendly with everybody, and I'll tell you a little bit about this roller.
Umbrellas. Along here is all kinds of candy shops, kind of turn of the century buildings, and beautiful, all the work that they do with the butterflies and also with the garden. You can see that they've done an umbrella in vines, and you are just going to love all that you see around it. You are really going back in time when you see these beautiful Victorian homes that have been built to house all the candy.
There is so much merchandise that you're going to want to buy. This is a photo inside one of the shops that you first see when you're coming in. You're going to go crazy wanting all of it. This is the 50th anniversary of when Dolly wrote 2 hits on the same day. One of them was I Will Always Love You, and the other was Jolene. And so a bunch of the merch right now that you can get in the Dollywood stores have to do with that. And I got this one for my daughter. It has Dolly's beautiful eyes and I Will Always Love You on the shirt. Well, there's fun items for all ages. I got this purse for my daughter. Really, it could be for a little girl or it could be for a teenager like she is. And it fits her cell phone, so it was great. A lot of the merchandise has Dolly on it, or it has to do with growing up in the Smoky Mountains and in Tennessee, like this bear. And of course, a t-shirt with most of her most famous hits. We took my 80-year-old mom, and she loved all the music performances, the sights, the food, the shopping. But for many people, especially that go with children, they are after the rides and they will not be disappointed. Some of the roller coasters were amazing. They were massive, loop-de-loops. There's this one that you're going to see a video of after this photo that it takes you up really hard and then just drops you off the edge, and it looks really scary. So the kids love it, and there's rides for all ages. So there's merry-go-rounds for the little ones and other small rides. There's, of course, there's the train ride for everybody. And then there's a major thrill rides.
So here's the Fire Chaser Express. And then you're going to look over here. There's it there, coming around. But take a look at how high that sucker is. So they go off the edge,
This is the Dream Song Theater, and this is the one that we wanted to see most because they perform Dolly songs and they tell you a lot about her story growing up in Pigeon Forge and growing up in the Smoky Mountains. And they sing a bunch of her big hit songs, and including her niece who sings Jolene and some of her top songs. And it's just wonderful to see that it's continuing to be passed through the music, through her family, and her niece is one of the star performers that you're going to want to see. And in the next video, you're going to see the inside of the theater. Now, because my mom was in one of those scooters to help her get around, people with wheelchairs and scooters are allowed to enter to the first front rows along with their companions that are helping them, and then everybody else is let in. And so when you see the video that I'm taking, it's mostly empty, but it was completely full after they let everybody else in, after all the people who needed additional assistance had been seated. The gardens are stunning all over Dollywood, and everything is sculpted with the animals and with butterflies. All around you is greenery, and these are just beautiful. Here's a peacock. There are other animals. I really like the raccoons. I took my picture with my mom in front of the raccoons. So everywhere you go, you're going to be surrounded by the beautiful Smoky Mountain trees, as well as these sculpted gardens. Dollywood has a huge eagle sanctuary, and it's the most eagles in one place, and they have a big area to fly in. I'm sure that they would love to be able to fly all over Tennessee, but the eagles that live here have been rescued eagles, and they have injuries. They wouldn't be able to feed themselves because most of them have been hit by cars. And you'll learn more about that from the handlers that do this show. You're not going to want to miss it. It's Eagle Mountain, and again, it really pays homage to the beautiful Smoky Mountains and all of the eagles and other fair-weathered friends that live there. After the presentation that you see and you get to sit down and look at all these different birds and learn all about them, you're able to see them up close in kind of like this area that they set them after they have been shown and presented. Then we all get to go up and see them up close, and then they let them out into that big sanctuary I was telling you about. And it was fantastic seeing an eagle so close up. You guys, I just cannot say enough about how much fun we had at Dollywood. We were not ready to leave. At the time we went, which was just a couple of weeks ago in June, it opened up at 9 o'clock, and we were there as soon as it got open because we wanted to be sure and get my mom a scooter to get around in. And it closes at 9 o'clock. So it really is family oriented, and it has all the rides and everything, but it really is for families. So it doesn't go until midnight or 1 o'clock at night like Disney and other places. It really stops at 9 or 10 o'clock. I'm pretty sure 9 o'clock all summer, which is, of course, their biggest time. We loved everything about Dollywood. There's so much to do. If you don't do the rides, things to see, all different musical acts all over the place. You're surrounded by mountain type things from back during the mountain music times, like Pounding for Gold and Water Wheels and all of that. But you also have all of the roller coasters and things to do for the kids and teenagers. You're going to love it. She's an amazing woman. She's so talented and giving with all that she's done and donating. And thank you, Dolly, for creating such a cool space. Everyone, you're going to want to check it out. Go to Pigeon Forge by itself or do both the way we did. You can easily do both of those in 2 days if you have to squish it in. But if I had a family, since there's so much to do in Pigeon Forge as well as Dollywood and the water park that's part of Dollywood, I would spend at least 4 to 5 days if I had kids. Have fun.